You know, this next image speaks to me so much of normal. These two children, there's a gentleness and sweetness to this image. Comes from a Montessori school in St. Petersburg, Russia, with one of my students who founded the school there. And you can see several things going on here that really exemplify to me what normal is. The little boy, there's 24 or 25 other children in the classroom. He has chosen to screen them out and focus on a work that is very interesting to him. He's utilizing fine motor coordination. He's doing some color mixing. And the little girl is in full control. She's demonstrating executive functioning of the brain of self-control to just simply watch and knowing that she'll have her turn later if she so chooses. But these are characteristics that are, according to Montessori, the normal characteristics of children. It's not the tantrums, it's not the flightiness that we often associate with children. It's really, it's a loving curiosity of life. It's an examination of things, and it's work. Children love to work.
Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we wanted to isolate is what the typical definition of normal is in our culture, and how we are constantly pushing our children's noses in this, right? Especially in the public school system, it's much more prevalent. But what normal is in our culture is measurement by comparison, right?
That's right.
How well I'm doing, I'm being tested according to my peers, rather than what I truly is my best. There's also little freedom. The choices are defined by the teachers. So choices are limited. They can't go, with the flow of what they're learning. And when my children were in Montessori schools, when they went into private or public schools, that was difficult because they were used to being self-directed, and all of a sudden they had to wait for a bell, or they couldn't finish their math because they had to go out for recess. And so there's that disruption of that learning. The other thing is normal is average. Normal is, what we call basically mediocrity. Where normal, in the sense of Montessori, is the normalization is unique to each child. So in our culture, it's conformance. It's to the generalization of what external standards mean, whether it's the growth of how tall you are, how much your weight, or what your grade level, or if you're reading at a certain age. Those are measurement tools that confine a child to have to pay attention to external standards rather than their own heart. So now compare that to Montessori normalization. It's structured freedom that encourages the exploration and growth. And they get to choose that. So it's a prepared environment, prepared for the child, right? So that the choices are safe, but they also exercise the freedom of that pursuit of their development. So they're not frustrated. That's why the harmony, right?
Exactly why.
And then the child leads by focusing on that inner prompting. And so you find that they grow in that discipline. The cognitive development is accelerated because they are utilizing that self-control. When we're moving our kids around and telling them when to do things and how to do it and close your book and get ready for reset, we are directing. Mm-hmm. So those muscles atrophy and they get sloppy, just like when we're out of shape and we put on the pounds, right? Those muscles of internal functioning start to atrophy. And I think that that's one of the gravest errors that has happened with our children abroad.
Well, Maria Montessori wrote that the roots of tyranny are in exactly this problem. A little soul gets told what to do all day, every day, and then completely lose touch with the inner teacher, and they become obedient little people or rebellious little people.
And neither one of those are free.
No.
So if I'm complying, I'm not free, but if I'm rebelling, I'm not free. I'm still not being true to myself.
That's absolutely
And most
right.
people see that rebellion is free, but it's not, because you're still rebelling against someone or something, and you may not be going towards the direction of your true heart.
This liberation of the individual potential of children is really why Maria Montessori was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize 3 years in a row. It wasn't because she developed some sweet little educational model for children. It's because she understood that there was an inner teacher. There was the greatest power on earth of people's potential, and that we had to simply find a way to let it be. And that is the hardest thing, because not only do we have to create the environment, but we have to get in touch ourselves to where we can allow it. to take place.
Mhm.
And that's really often the most difficult thing.
It is.